to Candid Conversations with Kathy. My name is Kathy McSherry, and I'm so excited to dive into today's conversation. Welcome, Janet. I think let's just jump right into it. What everybody that I'm dealing with, both buyers and sellers, are concerned about are, of course, the interest rates. And we've seen them double, literally double, from June to now, and we're just in October. Did you see it coming? As a professional, did you see this high of an increase coming?
Yes, but not this high. And a year ago, rates were 3%. And right now, the average rate is 6 3/4.
Right? And like, ouch.
Yeah, it's a big pinch for most buyers. But when you look at the averages over the last 30 years, rates have hovered in the high fives, 6s, and 7s. So this is not a crazy rate. It's just for a very short window of time, mostly 2021 and late 2020.
Yeah.
We had rates that were beyond low, the lowest ever.
I know. I knew, everybody probably knew. How long was it going to last? I mean, I thought to myself, 3%? Or some people were getting, 15 years? They were getting 1.99. I'm like, it's like free money. Like, how could you not borrow from the government at that rate? But I knew it wasn't going to last. My parents bought, I'm going to say, in the 70s at 18%.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, who would regret buying real estate? For me, I don't really know stocks and understand them. I've been doing real estate for over 20 years. But I don't see, you can take a paper loss in stocks. For me, it's scary. And one day lose 20-25% of your total savings, retirement, all of that. In real estate, I've never seen it dump in a day like that. So I think it's that volatility that scares me personally. But I also find the value in real estate. I mean, it continues to go up, yes. In 7 and 8, we saw things crash there. But
very different market.
Very different market. You know, you could breathe. They said, breathe on a mirror to get a loan.
Even that you didn't.
Right. So, But that was then, and get back to now, I still have buyers that are like, they're reticent, and they think now that they should wait. And I'm saying, don't wait, especially with what's going on in the world, with the war in Ukraine. Globally, uncertainty. Yeah, I think rates could very well go up again. And haven't they implied that the feds are going to raise one more time this year?
Yes, and it's really done, and just so the audience or our listeners understand, it's really to control inflation, because it's not just housing prices that were going up when the rate was low.
Right, gas.
Now gas prices doubled. Today
Food,
we got some bad
cars
news from OPEC,
right.
by the way.
Oh yeah, you were telling me that. What happened?
So they're going to reduce production by 2 million barrels a day. And so gas has already gone up, I think, 14%. This year. So
this week alone it's gone up.
Yeah, it's fuel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is globally. This is OPEC. So this is all in an effort to fill the supply chain. And once we have the supply, it will even out the demand. As you know, you go on the MLS or you look anywhere.
Right.
There isn't much inventory.
It's coming a little bit.
Yeah,
it's coming back a little bit.
And so...
But if I want to buy, and I read the paper today, and I see that gas is going to go up even more, and I'm like, Janet, I'm in escrow, and I haven't locked my loan. What do I do?
You call me, and you lock it immediately.
Okay, but we talked about, when do you, if I read the paper today, and I see that rates are going to go up, when do you see? Well, do you know before we know?
Yeah, we see it before. And so... it's basically there's in lending, I'm a wholesale broker, so in lending you see capital markets, and that is somebody that sits at a desk and basically is hedging and trying to figure out how they're going to sell that loan later. And
so wait, what do you mean by wholesale market? Wholesale and retail. Obviously, we know wholesale's cheaper, so when I come to you, I say, I want a wholesale rate. Is that what I say?
Because brokers are better. Yes.
And you're a broker.
Yes. And so our access, the channels, we go directly in. And there's not the middle person. You're not paying for my branch. You're not paying for things like that. It's great pricing, great service, and
so if I
all the
walked
best
into
products.
Bank of America and dealt with a person there, that's not a wholesale broker, they're
No,
retail?
that's retail.
Because they have to go through their branch to get to the banks that are doing the actual lending?
They are. So Bank of America is
Doing
their
the
own
lending.
lender. They're not able to go, let's say, to United Wholesale Mortgage, to UWM. They're not able to go. They're not going to do a construction defect loan.
Got it.
They're not going to do a loan for somebody that had a bankruptcy. They're not.
A paper, you have to be A paper, 20% down.
At least, yeah. And so banks want deposits as well. So we're seeing kind of a shrinking also in those markets now, where
So you have a bigger portfolio to work with.
yeah.
Speaking of construction defects, I want to bring that up only because, as you know, I live and work in Civita and I do a lot of farming there. And 3 of the communities are
Mission Valley.
in litigation with the builder, right? And a lot of buyers get scared of that. They're like, litigation. When in fact, as you know, and other people in real estate, when a condo association approaches the 10-year mark, if you're a good HOA, you want to make sure your reserves are protected and that any possible defects or anything current on the property at that time, there's enough funds for. And also, did the builder construct something faulty, or is it just wear and tear? But regardless, you want to maintain the community. So I'll just explain to anybody listening, that scares a lot of people, but I've been very successful with Janet in closing a lot of homes in the Civita master plan community because she was able to work around it. And then I'm just going to ask you, what makes you different from any other lender? How come you were able to close the loans and they weren't?
Well, because I'm not trying to circumvent the system. And say, okay, well, I can do this, and maybe nobody will find out.
Right.
And there are some lenders that rely on the MLS and what it says or doesn't say. They may not order the condo docs prior to or do research. And
well, the agent should disclose it in the MLS. But even I've had agents not disclose it because they're unaware. So
correct.
There you go. If you don't live and know the area, they take the listing, they get a buyer, and their sellers are frustrated because they can't close the loan.
correct.
So when I had people experiencing that and I went to you, you did so much and I was so impressed. If you could just kind of gloss over a short synopsis of a summary of how you were able to do that, where you had to talk to, as far as I know, the HOA, the attorneys, all of it.
And there was the misconception where, it's pre-litigation. Well, there's really no such thing as pre-litigation. The moment that's out there, the HOA had been put on notice already, and hence it all begins. And that goes back to, and what changed in our industry, when the building in Florida collapsed.
Right. Yeah.
That, which was last year.
And it was 40 years old. To me, isn't an old building.
I think it was 86 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was 40. Okay.
And 5 blocks from the beach, I believe, and very different conditions than what we have here. But that altered the paperwork and caught a lot of lenders off guard. I knew about it because I'm on the wholesale side and just understood, right, how we closed our deals. Hey, buyer, this is what it is. And we were very straightforward. Do I think that they're happy buyers? Yes.
They got into the home. Right.
They got into the home.
I mean, it hasn't stopped me from
the
closing
sellers
homes
credited
there.
some closing costs.
But I've seen other agents, and what happens, they sits on the market, and you then start to look stale as a listing, and your seller's getting frustrated, and then other agents with new buyers that want to show the home are like, what's the deal with this home? Why has it been on the market for so many days? And it turns into a problem. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the seller on that home.
Well, no, and not in this market, because what's happening, as you know, it was happening, I think, when the last transaction we did, where the rate's moving. So every day that the rate moves, it impacts the saleability of that property, of any property, because it's costing that buyer more.
Right.
And or the seller's going to make less as a result. So right now,
I don't think they understand that. That's huge. The seller will make less. Exactly.
Time is money right now. Time is money. So my advice always is price it correctly. And I tell clients now that are buying homes, marry the property, not the loan.
Right. That's true. Good advice.
Because we'll refi. You did it.
Yeah.
And for a first-time buyer, I think there's opportunity.
Absolutely. So what do you think, what's your feeling? Do you have a shiver down your spine? You have any feelings of what the rates are going to be looking like by the end of the year? You think the feds are going to hike them one more time?
Yes, absolutely. They've got to control what's going on.
The inflation.
And the good thing about being in the United States, the U.S., as a nation, we are, I would say, probably the only country that can print money. And it doesn't weaken our dollar.
Right.
And
our dollar's doing great right now.
And this is what they're protecting. If you look at the British pound, if you look at the euro against the dollar, what we're doing is working to reduce our inflation so that we maintain our value. And so if anything, we'll come out stronger. Anybody buying real estate right now, yes, it's a good investment.
Hey, sorry to interrupt our conversation. I just want to take a minute in case anybody has any real estate questions or concerns. Please reach out to me at Kathy@KathyMcSherry.com or my website, KathyMcSherry.com. I'd be happy to help. Now, let's get back to our conversation. So what's your most difficult loan?
Right now, the most difficult loans, I don't want to say they're all difficult, but I think the most difficult is getting through the expectation of and the sticker shock for
sticker shock. That's what people have. Yeah, I think or payment shock because they fall in love with a house and then they go to see how much they can afford, and the payment has just doubled, or not doubled, the interest rate doubled, but how much? Yeah, is it really? Is the payment doubled or that much higher than when they first started looking? So what I say is you still have to get into the game. Maybe you can't afford the 2,000 square foot home. Now you got to look at the 1,400 square foot home, but you still have to get into the game.
Yes.
You got to have equity. Otherwise you're throwing your money away, your rent, you're not getting the tax deductions of owning a home and all the other benefits and having equity.
Well, and here especially in California and San Diego, rents they're going to go up.
They've been going up.
And so you're getting less. And when people tell me, my roommate and I pay $2,000 each, and somebody's afraid to buy, well, you're paying $2,000 for a room. You're going to pay $4,000 and you're going to get a whole house,
right?
Or
you're going to own it, let alone and all the benefits of home ownership. You did a fabulous rate sheet on the benefits of renting and buying. If anybody wanted to go see that, is it on your website? Where can they get that?
They can call me.
Okay. Or, you know what? Send it to me and I'll post it. I'll post it this next week.
It's one of the things I have to say I'm not very good at is social media. My business comes from referral. And fortunately, I have agents and clients like you that are loyal, that know that I'll get you to the finish line. You're going to get the best deal.
Yeah, word of mouth. I mean, all my business is 100% referral, word of mouth.
And so it's results driven. And I'm optimistic. I look at now for the first time, as we were talking, since 2012, where the prices just kept going up and climbing. For the first time, we're actually seeing reductions being taken and sellers giving buyers credit to close. That's really important that the lender explain that to a listing agent. And I've gotten on the phone now with sellers as well and just calm them
try to
a
close
little bit.
the deal. No, sellers, I mean, they will. It depends on the motivation, right? If somebody has to move, their job change, familial status, a death in the family, a divorce, anything that prompts somebody to move, if they have to go, then sellers are more able or willing to give seller credits to the buyer.
And we're not necessarily going to see cash buyers the same way we did, because more people are now borrowing more because of what's gone on in the stock market. They're not as eager, let's say, to go into their portfolio, because like in the stock market, you really only lose money when you sell.
Right.
So,
I think we're going to see more people, the investors, the cash buyers, they're not affected by the interest rates. The stock market's tanked. I think we're going to see more people putting their money into real estate.
correct.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
So we always see a lot of foreign investors, which is a question I have. How able are you to do foreign national loans?
Easy.
Easy?
Yep.
Yeah, because I've had some Saudi buyers, some from Asia with their money concerned about the process, or in Mexico, about sourcing their funds and getting them over here, things like that. They've been issues. So how do you tackle that?
Well, it depends on the source of the funds. So
That's true.
we do have to source them. So, bag of
I can't come in with a suitcase.
bag
for $2
of
million.
cash. I'd love it. Bag of cash does not work the same way, but I'm sure I know somebody. I'm sure I can figure it out.
Okay, I got a question. The process, though, my last foreign national buyer was very frustrated with the way they hold back taxes here. Is that just something, he thought it was him. I'm like, listen, it's not you, it's anybody with foreign money, right?
Correct.
We hold back, how much is it, 10%, 15%, do you know?
I want to say it's 10.
And
For the
then,
state.
do they see it again, or it's just held back?
That's, and as
Depending
you know,
on the country.
it's outside of our control.
It is.
Just like interest rates are outside of my control, your control. It's just some expectation, creating an expectation, reality.
Right.
And if that was
I know
something...
people always are quick to blame us, right?
Correct.
I can't control that.
Well, and of course, do I want to quote somebody 6.75 when I know it's a first-time buyer? Or even somebody that's downsizing, but there are still a lot of benefits to that. You don't have 30 people writing an offer on the same property, so
True.
You're not going to go over asking. You're not going to see that the same way. Although I am still seeing it, just not the same way. And deals are canceling.
I've heard that.
And
In new home construction, too, I've heard deals are canceling.
yeah, and so I save deals. I save a lot of transactions that way, and it's a lot of time because when you started the process, especially with new construction, and it takes 2 years to get to the finish line.
Yeah, and the
had
uncertainty of not being able to lock in that rate.
They can lock in, but when they qualified, one in particular, in the desert, and they had gone under contract 2 years prior. So the builder actually was giving them a really good deal. The unfortunate part was that he had overtime when he applied for the loan.
Oh, and his pay?
And the pay, there was a decline. And that's one thing I will say that I'm not seeing like I used to with people that are hourly. I used to see a lot of overtime. And that's calculated in.
So their income's going down.
Well, yes, and their buying power shrinks. That doesn't mean you can't get the transaction done. It just means you're going to have to be a little more creative.
Right.
Or it's too much house right now.
Right.
And
that's it. I mean, I still firmly believe, I'll say this over and over, you got to get into the game in order to benefit. So, slow down, lower your expectations, get something. Get the 2-bedroom instead of the 4-bedroom or the 3-bedroom, but get into the game. That's my takeaway for today. What's yours?
Buy when rates are high and sell when they're low.
Buy when rates are high. So today.
Yeah, they're not even that high.
No, they're not. That's why I had to ask. They're really not. I mean, that was average to me. We're not, I don't know if we're ever going to see the 3s again, but, you know, in our lifetime, who knows? Maybe eventually, but we were lucky.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to happen, go up way before it did. I mean, ages ago, I thought we were going to be.
Yeah, it started moving in February. I want to say around February 23rd. Is when I remember that it never...
Oh, right when the Ukrainian war?
Yeah, it started. Yeah.
Really?
And then it just continued. And because of the stimulus money, what caused it? There was stimulus money. I mean, basically interest rates rose globally because of government spending, stimulus money, supply chain issues, and the money was cheap until now.
Yep, I get it. So if you had to say, anybody interested in buying or selling, and, you know, what would you say? You already said buy.
Yes.
And then if I had a loan and I was in escrow right now, you would tell me because of world news, lock today?
Yes. And
so don't wait?
Don't wait. What are you waiting for? Because the rate will move. And if you have the right broker... that if the rate, I always tell everybody, if the rate goes down, then I'll move you, or we'll do a float down. There's always a solution, but also don't listen to all the hype in the media.
Right.
They aren't real. They are not realtors, and they're not mortgage brokers. Right. So the people in your market understand your market, and that's one of the things I think that scares buyers is the fear, right? They're watching the news, they're afraid, and I would be more afraid of not buying.
I agree.
Because you can fix your housing costs.
I mean, you can't, life's going to happen, the world news is going to happen every single day. It is what it is, but don't put everything on hold to make the most important decision of your life.
It's the biggest investment and in California, fortunately, it's like a 401k. So where in other states you don't have that the same way. And if you compare, let's say, Cleveland, Ohio to San Diego, well, this is like a 401k. Where are you going to have, let's say, after 3 to 5 or 6 years, $300,000 of equity in a home?
I know.
And it makes so much sense. And call if you have any questions.
Some people, it doesn't matter what we say, Janet, they're still going to stick their heels in the sand and they're not going to move. My own nephew, for one. Timmy, if you're listening, I keep telling you, but, you know, whatever. I told him to move to Florida. He needs to go over there.
Post-hurricane.
Well, actually, that's true. Maybe he could, you know, who knows.
He might get a good deal. No.
Anyway, Janet Shanner, C2 Financial, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your insight and your knowledge and your wisdom in the mortgage market. And hopefully you'll come back soon and we can talk more about the industry.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Candid Conversations with Kathy, and I so look forward to speaking to all of you next week. Thanks again. Have a great day.